One step beyond you. Only one step. Only one step.
Hi, I'm Erica Gillis, and welcome to One Step Beyond You podcast, home of motivation and inspiration. Each week I have different guests on here that will motivate and inspire you onto the next level of your life. Please join me in welcoming my next guest, Timothy Couto. He's the Human Resource Manager of the Birmingham School District. How you doing, Timothy?
Great, Erica. Thanks for having me here this evening.
I'm glad you could come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as I start every podcast, I always like to tell the viewers and the listeners how we met. So would you like to share with them how we met?
I think it was, about 5 years ago. We had a venture of hosting foreign exchange students from China. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I had Peter and you had Joseph. Mm-hmm. And Peter came here every afternoon after school and hung out. And that began our friendship about 5 years ago.
Yes. And I would have never thought that becoming a host mom, I would have ended up with so many new friends and just a whole different life.
It's a great network of people.
Yes, it is. And they'll be part of my life forever. So do you still talk to Peter?
I do. Peter's in Toronto going to college there. And so I keep in communication with Peter and his parents every once in a while, every couple of months. Mm-hmm.
So are you going to go to China and visit him when he goes back to China?
I promised him and his parents that I would go when he got married. I figured that'd buy me a couple of years until I had to do the 17-hour flight.
Right. That is a long flight, mm-hmm. Man. I know. So now, do you have children of your own?
I do. I have a son, Ashton. He's 6 years old. Mm-hmm. He goes to school with me every day out to Birmingham. Mm-hmm.
And so he has to get up extra early in the morning, huh?
He does get up extra early every morning. So we have about an hour and 15-minute commute. So I drop him off at the start of the day so he doesn't have to do before or after school childcare. Yes. But then he stays after about an hour and a half, and then we do our drive home.
Wow. That's a long time to be in the car.
It is, for both of us.
How do you function? Like, just most of your day is gone, travel time in it?
Yeah, we do about 3 hours pretty much every day in the car.
Wow.
So it does create for different time planning, we'll say. Mm-hmm.
So. A lot of toys in the car.
A lot of toys, Wi-Fi, all that good stuff so that he can have his iPad.
Yeah.
So.
Right, a home on wheels.
Right, exactly. Sometimes it's a kitchen too.
Yeah.
So.
Right, I know, right. You got to have that portable vacuum cleaner.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So do you like being a single dad?
I do. I mean, there's pros and cons to it, but... Mm-hmm. It's been him and I since the time that he was born, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now you know what us single mothers have to go through, right?
I do. I respect that.
That's good. That other people appreciate what we have to go through, right? Yeah, that's awesome. So when I was reading your bio, I read that you've never lived out of Michigan.
Correct.
Like, so you never wanted to live anywhere or go to college outside of Michigan?
I didn't say I didn't want to live somewhere else. I would live in a number of different places, but I have a large family that is very rooted here, and family is very important to me. Mm-hmm. So, it's the reason that we're here and the location that we're in is so that our system is right there with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what about college? Like most kids, when they grow up and want to go to college, they want to get away. You didn't even want to go away to
I didn't
college?
even go away to college. I mean, I have 4 degrees, but I did all of them while working. Mm-hmm. So they were all done in the evening.
Oh,
so
okay.
None of them were done traditionally, if you will.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So, like, what schools did you go to and what degrees in your study did you?
So I have my associate's and bachelor's degree are both from Northwood University, and they're in business administration. And then I did my master's degree in human resource administration from Central Michigan. Okay. And then I did my ed specialist degree, which is the first half of your doctorate degree, in educational leadership at Oakland University.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's awesome. I actually met one of the presidents or vice presidents of Oakland University at a seminar that I went to, and he had given me his business card and said, "Hey, if you ever want a place to do a motivational talk, call me and I'll give you a platform."
Well,
so I am going to reach out to him one day.
Sure. That sounds like a great opportunity.
Right, absolutely. Just to meet different people. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So how long have you been in the public school or public education system?
This June, on June 13th, it will be 25 years.
Wow.
So,
That's a long time.
it is a long time.
Dang, how did you survive?
I don't know. I'm not certain that I have. So.
Yeah, usually be people like, "Oh, I'm pulling my hair out," or
Right,
whatever.
well, that's not really an issue. So.
That's all
Or maybe
right.
I have.
Right.
So.
Right. Wow. So now, prior to you moving to the Birmingham School District, you was in the Lance Cruz School District.
Correct.
And so you wore many hats. Can you share with us what all those hats were?
Sure. So, L'Anse Creuse has always been my home. It's where I grew up. I graduated from L'Anse Creuse High School North. I often tease that one day I would get my diploma and I would be able to leave there. So, spent 23 and a half years with L'Anse Creuse before I moved over to Birmingham. I did a variety of different things. I started as a co-op in the office doing bookkeeping. And then I did before and after school childcare, went back to bookkeeping. Our superintendent had a vision of doing a technology help desk, and I took on that role and created the vision. Grew that to it's now staffed by 3 people, and when I left at that time was getting thousands of phone calls per year. And so from there, I went into our business office, worked with our assistant superintendent for finance. And then the last probably 12 years, I was the coordinator for student information services. And I was responsible for student enrollment, our pupil count, all our state reports, homeless children, and schools of choice, and the international program.
Oh, okay.
And then towards the very end, about the last year, is when I picked up the human resource responsibilities, and that included all of our non-certified staff, hourly staff members.
Okay, okay. Because I didn't know that you was in human resources, and so like when you mentioned it, I'm like, I didn't know that. I would have tried to get a job. No.
So, right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so when you were part of Lance Creuse, that's when you started the Foreign Learners Program. And that was through, what was the name? BCC.
We did it through BCC.
Right. And now the name of the program that you're doing it through.
I work for and represent China Student Advocate, CSA, here in Michigan. I'm their representative in Michigan.
Okay. And so I'm sure people want to know about how, because I always talk about being a host mom, but how the program got started, and then how can someone become a host parent?
So the students that we have through CSA are here for 1 year, their senior year, and they graduate. They meet the requirements, the state of Michigan requirements to graduate, and once they complete their coursework and graduate, which our students will graduate on June 8th this year, they will attend university next year here in the United States. So my goal as a manager and working with the students is in that early fall time frame, as they're adjusting to the American culture, they're also applying to colleges and going through that process as any other U.S. student does. Getting letters of recommendation and writing essays and things along that line. And then we sit down and start the application process, Common App, things along that line, and then hope for letters of acceptance. And all of our students this year are accepted in one of their first choices, and will be headed off in the fall to one of the universities.
Okay. And so, as far as being a host parent, what type of things that they have to go through as far as background check or whatever? What are you looking for criteria?
So we're looking for the kind of typical American family. That's what the parents want. Typically a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, a dog, something along that line. Although every student is different, and we've placed a number with single parents, we've placed them without animals, we've placed them without siblings. So it really is fitting the student. We get profiles on each one of our students and what their likes and dislikes are and try to match them, exactly with the right family. We do background checks through the state of Michigan, through the state police. We'll come out to the house and do kind of a visual inspection of what we might see around the house, what their room would look like. Every student has to have their own room, bed, dresser, desk, obviously access to the bathroom, things along that line. And then the host family is responsible really to make sure they get to and from school, which might be a school bus, or they could drive them. And then we the host family has to provide dinner, and then the 3 meals on the weekends, and actually breakfast. But breakfast, I say isn't getting up and making bacon and eggs every morning, grab and go or a bowl of cereal or something along that line. So, have breakfast available. A lot of the kids don't eat it because they're leaving, somewhere between 6 and 6:30, to catch the bus. They'll catch something on the way. They'll eat lunch at school, which they're responsible for, and then they come home and have, a snack or dinner. So. Yeah,
so I was the only crazy one that got up and fixed the full breakfast.
No, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. I never did.
Yeah, see, right. I just think that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I wanted them to get an American home cooked meal. But it was hard getting up an extra half an hour and 45 minutes in the morning just to fix breakfast. And then when they go out the door, then I go and get ready for work. Right. But I put on a lot of weight trying to fix a full breakfast opposed to just eating a smoothie or buying them some stuff that they have to heat up in the microwave.
I think I coined the, at least with the families, the grab and go, some Nutri-Grain bars, some, granola bars, something like that, or some breakfast sandwich that could be warmed up in the microwave, but take it on your way out to the bus stop and, or eat it when you felt. I don't like to eat when I get up. It's usually a couple hours after I'm up before I eat. So I think that's where it came from for me.
Yeah. So the kid that you have this year is Mike.
Right.
And so how do you guys mesh, what is your normal routine?
Yeah, so Mike is different. Each of the students, I've had 3 the first year. I had Peter. Peter was with me for 2 years. And then I had Patrick, and then he was with us for a year, and then Mike's with us for a year. So every student has their own unique personalities and things like that. Mike is extremely quiet, really doesn't integrate much with the family, which is completely different from what we had last year. Patrick was involved in every aspect, every night sitting with us and traveling. He traveled with us. He went to all of our family events and things like that. So it's really to each their own. Just like how we're all different, they're all different too. So that's where I said, in the last question, it's finding the right fit. If you want a chatty Cathy, or do you want a silent Sam?
Right.
And so that's, my job as the manager here to make sure those placements are right.
Right. So. And it's kind of tough because I know that first year it was a experience for all of us trying to find the right fit because the kids there are 17 and I'm guessing in China at 17 you somewhat grown. I don't know, but yet even though the parents control most of things, but they want to just come to America and do their own thing, and they want you to drive them everywhere, and that's just not how it works. So it was a bit of a challenge at first. But
so the difference really in that respect is the fact that the students in that first group that we had with Peter and Joseph, they began living in a dormitory at age 6.
Okay.
And so towards the end in their high school career, they would only see their parents, every couple of months, kind of like the college students here do on holiday. And so where that second group of students, they would go home every weekend because their school was closer. But still lived in the dorm Monday through Friday. Okay. So family life in high school is very different because they dedicate their time to their studies, usually about 12 to 14 hours a day. So that's their only focus, is to study. And so when they get here, it's definitely a sense of freedom, with all the different opportunities that we have for them. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Because I think for me, my goals was to teach the kids how to be independent when they leave here, when they go to college. And so I was probably a little bit different than most people. I taught them how to cook and clean and wash walls and scrub floors. Whereas in China, their parents the mom did most of the house cleaning. Or the grandparents, right. And it was just like, hey, if you want to live here with me, we got to work together. And we had, but it helped because like with Jason, he's gone on off to college, and so now he knows how to clean. He knows, you know what I mean? He doesn't have to worry about cleaning his bathroom or whatever, because those are things that I taught him. I think Joseph went back to China. He went to school for like about a year, and then I don't know what happened, but he quit school and he went on back home to China. So you have some success stories where the kids actually complete, college, and then some that say, hey, I just want to go home. I'm not, I'm missing my mama,
Right. So exactly what you said. I mean, it's been in my house too, my feeling is I'm preparing you to become independent. So they learned how to do laundry. They learned how to cook. They had to clean their bathroom. So those kind of basic skills, which they hadn't done before in China. But when they get to be at the university and they're independent, at least hopefully we think they have a clean bathroom.
Right.
So,
So what would you say would have been your biggest challenge with the kids, and how did you overcome that challenge?
I think probably the biggest challenge was parent involvement.
Okay.
And so I found, or have found, for the mothers to be very controlling.
Okay.
And they are the decision maker, to the choice of college, to what's going on in the home they're living in. And so the parents, more so it's the mom, not the dad. I haven't run into any problems with dads. Wanting to control things from China and not giving the full opportunity. Right. And it's not every student, but those where it's a very dominant mom, it makes for some difficulties. Yeah. So. Yeah. So.
I know, because like when I had Jason, I didn't have any problems, and even though I don't speak Chinese, his mom would still get on FaceTime and we would talk, and he would translate, and we would laugh and had a good time. She even invited me to come to China, so I'm still going eventually, but just haven't made it there yet. And so again, you have some success stories, and then others it's a bit of a challenge. But I think for me the biggest challenge would be actually getting to know the kid, and like one example would be like you have a kid that come here and he's dating. So our American natural instincts would be don't go out here and have sex, don't do this, don't do that, you know what I mean? And they try to reiterate to me that, we're Chinese, we don't do that kind of stuff, But so the biggest challenge is trying to figure out, are they lying to you? Are they like trying to pull the wool over your eyes because we're Chinese? Or is it truth to what they're saying? Yeah. Are you reflecting over there? Was that a self-reflection over there?
Yeah, they definitely know how, and especially in school. The cell phone is a big distractor. I think it is for every student. But they use, just as you had just stated, the whole Chinese thing. They'll say, "Oh no, I need it for my, as a translator," when they're really playing video games and chatting back and forth and things like that. So they're kids. They're, 16, 17, 18 years old, and they're gonna play their games that they, just like the students here. So
what are some of the ways that you do as a coordinator of this program to oversee the kids and oversee them and their host families?
So my role as a coordinator here, I meet with the students every other week. We meet, for like an hour, check in. They have to fill out a reflection form. It's kind of 3 boxes. It is 3 boxes. What's going on in school? What are your concerns in school? What are your concerns with your host family? And it's not just concerns, positive, negative. And then with the organization CSA. So we look at the things kind of holistically. What's going on? What do we need to change? What's coming up? Do you have exams to study for? Are there vacations? Things along that line, and communicate. And then every month, once a month, I send out a Google Doc to all of their teachers with questions. Are they being respectful in class? What additional things can they work on? Do they need additional supports? There's 5 questions in there. And then the student and the family fill out about a 10 to 12 question questionnaire every month. And it's really are they upholding the terms of their contract that they signed? Are the host parents upholding the terms that they said that they would to us? And is the student upholding the terms that we promised the host families?
And so what are some of the ramifications if you get a bad host parent that is just not treating the child right, and then some ramifications if you get a bad child that's just not treating the host parent right?
So we try to kind of make amends, figure out what's going on first. Our immediate thing isn't to move a student, although there are circumstances that cause us to do that. We'll have conversations, meetings with that. The owner of our company is in California. She is Chinese, so she speaks the language. Oftentimes I get her involved because of the communication barrier, so she can communicate with the student and explain what's going on. Might be American culture that's part of it. Might be the fact, I had a student that was only here about 4 weeks this year, the first one in the 4 years that I've done this, 5 years that I've done this, that actually went back home because she was just homesick. And so that was different, but she was really kind of blaming everything on the host parent so she was just trying to find fault, so that she could go home. And then, we've moved a couple of other students around and they're still here. So it's been good. It depends on the company. Some move quicker than others. We try to make it an experience, a rewarding experience for the student and the family. So hopefully long term we keep our families that we have. So.
Yeah. I know, right? That's a challenge.
Right.
Because it's like, it's kind of hard raising your own kids and then taking on someone who's an addition to your family, and then trying to understand their challenges and their barriers, because even though they're adults, you still have to kind of or young adults, you have to put more time into them as you would your own child, just to make sure that they're comfortable. But once they get situated and comfortable, then they are good to go, and you don't have to work so hard.
This year these students are older. I've had 18 and 19-year-olds, and for the first time, as you're aware, I have a student that's driving, actually went through the process and got his driver's license in a car, and which has caused us to revamp our paperwork, because that's not something that we had experience before, nor were we looking to have experience with. But because of the student's age and not having anything, we did allow him to get his license and obtain a car, and he's out there driving around. So.
Right. Wow. So that's interesting. So we're going to take a break and time out for our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how people can reach you if they want to become a host parent or host family, and just find out a few more things about becoming a host parent.
Great.
All right.
Running a small business can be exciting but very challenging. Most people start a business because of a passion they have, but they soon realize keeping up with invoices, tracking revenues and expenses, staying organized, and marketing and sales support can be extremely chaotic. I see you nodding your head. At Globodime Consulting, our mission is your success. We focus on all the things you don't want to do, so you can do what you love to do. After all, that's why you're in business. We offer a wide range of services, including bookkeeping and financial services, branding and marketing services, business strategy and mastermind sessions. So get in touch with us today for a free 30-minute business consultation and an expense tracking worksheet.
And we're back. We had to take a moment out for our sponsors. And so now we're going to talk about what you're looking for as far as host families and how people can reach you.
Okay. So, like I had said earlier, I mean, we're looking for that, kind of typical American family that's going to give our students a great experience, that's going to be dedicated to senior year. Our students do have to attend L'Anse Creuse High School North, so it's a 21-mile road in between North Avenue and Fairchild. The easiest thing would be for our families to live in the L'Anse Creuse School District. We do look for families that are in the L'Anse Creuse District. That's the easiest thing for us. Okay. As far as contact information, my cell phone's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. That way you can either call or text. Texting's probably the easiest in case I can't always read, answer the phone. So that number is 586-212-7590, and I'll get back with you and, start having conversations and meeting with individuals to see, if we can become a partner and hosting students from China.
So what's the deadline that you people have to reach out to you by?
So we're placing students right now. All of their documentation is being sent over to China. I'm looking for those families, probably within the next month or two. Mm-hmm. June, pretty much at the latest. Okay. Each host family, I ask for a profile. So PowerPoint presentation and kind of a PowerPoint presentation, right. Pictures of everybody in the house, pictures of the house, pictures of what their rooms would look like, if there's any pets, what do, if you're a religious person, if you're a sports fanatic, to give the students a profile, in turn the students give us a profile to share with the host families. And I like to say the June time frame, A, to make sure I have houses, and then B, to make sure that the families can start communicating with the students, so that they have some time to, build a relationship electronically before they get over here in August.
Okay. So. And so like if a family is not quote unquote in the L'Anse Creuse School District and within the parameter, mm-hmm. but you got maybe the stay-at-home mom and they're not too far and they're willing to drive the kid back and forth to school, is that acceptable as well?
It depends on the school district. So that is a conversation that we need to have.
Okay.
There are some ways that we can work with it. Mm-hmm. So it's not a definite no, but it's not a definite yes.
Okay. Okay. And I think it's a good experience for people to get an opportunity to see how other cultures live, because many times we have misrepresentation about other cultures and what we think is. And at the end of the day, when you get these kids in your home, they're just like your own kids and you just love on them. And treat them like they're your own. And I think every kid I have still call me mom, you know.
Right.
And so do they address you as dad, or how do they address you?
No, they've all addressed me as Tim. None of
Okay.
them have addressed me as mom. So, or mom. I
Dad.
guess that wouldn't be right, would it? So, you know, they've all addressed me as Tim. None of, you know, like you with the mom or dad title.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right, because I tried to say I'm auntie, and they still like, hey, mom.
Right.
I say,
well, their structure, their family structure is so different, too, that they don't really even have, or they don't recognize the aunt piece.
Okay.
You know, so everybody seems to be a brother or sister that I think they refer to a lot. You know, the aunt, uncle is a brother or sister.
Oh. So that explains, because I didn't know, like, because when Calvin was talking to his cousin that goes to college in Arizona, and he was like, meet my brother. And so I'm like, I didn't know you had a brother.
Right.
And so we was speaking back and forth. His English is very good. Then I said, well, how's he your brother? Then he was like, that's my aunt's son. And I go, okay, you know. But,
yeah, so it's different. They don't use cousins, aunts, uncles, things along that line.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Another cultural difference.
Right. Wow, so that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, so at least now you guys get to know what I've been doing for the past 4 years, being a host parent, and I'm not going to say it's always 100% easy, but it's been a great experience. And I think, like I've said before, when my daughter had to go to Taiwan and be hosted by a family, that's when my appreciation for being a host mom became at its highest.
Sure.
Because now I understand what it's like to send your child into somebody else's hands,
right,
and expect them to treat and love and care for them as if, you know, they're at home. So that made me step my game up.
right. And I think you think about this, you know, hosting international students, exchange students, if you will, has been going on for decades in time. So it's not anything that's new. You know, it's just more focused right now, or our focus right now is in one, you know, specific country.
So when people ask me, like, foreign exchange students, I go, no, I'm not exchanging them for someone else. But would you classify what we do as foreign exchange?
No, ours more is international, and I only say that because of governmental paperwork.
Okay.
So usually if it's foreign exchange, it's through a different type of organization. Actually, their government paperwork is identical. But it's managed a little bit differently. And like you said, you're exchanging. So you may have called yours an exchange, you know, with Asia going over and you having one here, but just from different companies. But, you know, I think that was the initial thought process, you know, is you send me yours and I'll send you ours.
Right.
And so.
Right. That's awesome. So, I'm glad that you had an opportunity to come on here and share with people what we do. But there may be people who is experiencing in need of motivation or inspiration. And so I'd like for you to look into the camera and give some words of encouragement, or motivate somebody to be a host family, or just, you know, just motivate them and inspire them through whatever they might be going through.
Okay. So, you know, all of us go through our own challenges, and we all find individuals that we rely on. And I think everybody needs some type of a mentor. They need somebody whom they can trust and share things with. You know, whether it's picking up the phone or sending a text or going out to dinner, something along that line. You need that individual in whom you can trust and openly communicate with. Those people who keep things bottled up often lead to other problems. And so it's very important to unbottle and to have that right person to do that with.
Wow, so. Yeah, that's good. That's a good message. Because people do shut down and don't express. I was one of them. I raised my hand. But and you're right. When you shut down, you you just go into a whole different space. You don't get anything accomplished. And I think my pastor had did a Bible study one night. He talked about how when you isolate yourself, that's just grounds for the devil to like work on you, because there's nobody there to help you fight. So it is good to not stay bottled up, but express
We
yourself.
all constantly grow in my experience, as we've talked about, during this time here, being in education, we're lifelong learners. Every day, we learn something new. And so you have to be open to that. You have to be open to what's happening around you. And whether it's a lesson you need to learn or it's a lesson you need to be coached further on. But we're learners, and you have to be open in this world, because we all hopefully continue to grow every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because you don't want to stay stagnant. You want to grow.
Right.
Yep. We are, because I always tell me I came a long way. And so, but it's good to grow. And even since Jalen been home, he's did I wouldn't say 160 degrees, almost close, to a 3. But they say 360 is when you go back where you started.
Right.
So I don't want to say right.
So
right. So
halfway.
I say he did a 180,
right,
and I
like
it.
Jalen coming home, has taught you different lessons, just as he's taught you different lessons.
Yes.
And so that's that, being open and aware and learning, and having eyes and ears to the ground.
Yes.
Wherever that's coming from. And so, and going back to, having that person that can communicate with you, that you can bounce things off, that are going to tell you, hey, open your eyes.
Yeah.
Or no, everything's good. Just keep going.
Right. So. He says, I'm the producer. You listen to what I tell you. I know I'm younger than you, but if you listen to me, I'm not going to tell you wrong. And at first I was like, but then I said, he's right. And so then that's why the podcast is coming a lot better than they were when we first started. You never
we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And, and we have to rely on the strengths of other people to help us in our own weaknesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And so, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It really, it meant a lot, and we were able to share this experience with people.
We clicked straight out the gate 5 years ago.
Yes.
And it's been a very rewarding friendship for me.
Me too. I'm like, and then when you move away, I'll be missing you. I'm still coming over.
We're not moving far, so.
Well, that's good. That's good. And so, so as I end every podcast, I just always like to tell people, always learn something. I try to give you something motivational and inspirational when you tune into our podcast. So this was something motivating that, you can reach out and experience other nationalities into your home. And so you don't have to be stuck in your own culture. You can always learn more. And as Tim said, don't stay bottled up. Get out and express yourself and share your feelings, so to speak. And just remember, it only takes just one step beyond you.